Welcome back to Podcasting Mastered. My name is Wade, and I'm here with Chelsea as always, and this week we are going to be giving our long-awaited, maybe not long-awaited, but for us, long-awaited review of Across the Spider-Verse. I think it's been, we both saw it pretty quickly once it came out, but we've had some other episodes planned, so we were trying to get to this one as soon as we could before all the before all the publicity around the movie died down. So hopefully there's still some people listening that have seen the movie, and maybe some people that we might convince to go see the movie too. Who knows?
Yes, I sure hope we convince people to go see it. I'll just start right off with that, for
yeah.
sure. I mean, this sequel, I feel like this was a sequel that had a lot of expectations for. I feel like when the first movie came out in 2018, at least for me, it was kind of like, what in the world? What is this random new Spider-Man movie we're getting? And I'm like, look at Sony again trying to churn out their Spider-Man properties. But then it was like, dang, that was an amazing movie.
That's a whole other thing.
Oh my gosh. Just the whole style of it, just great storytelling. I mean, for me, that first movie is like honestly like nearly a perfect film. Like it just blew everything out of the water, just blew all my expectations away. Just an absolutely incredible film with great characters and just, it's a Spider-Man movie, so you expect there to be, a sequel, at least one, at least two, who knows, whatever, make a whole franchise out of it. But it's like, there's always that little bit of hesitation with sequels, like, oh, will it be as good? Will it be better? Will it be just okay? But here we are now. We both have seen that film. And
did they do it? Did they make a better movie?
I don't know if they made a better movie for me, but they made...
Or did they just make a different movie?
They made a different one and a pretty darn good movie at it, I'll say.
Okay, good. That's where I'm sitting too. I don't ever need anything to be the same as its predecessor. Different is usually better when it comes to that. Because you're not trying to meet the same expectations, but they made a different movie, and they still made a good movie on top of it. So, like, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, but this is a movie, I think, listeners, if you haven't seen it, you should just know ahead of time that this is truly a part one film. So it ends on a huge cliffhanger. So just be prepared for that. I'm not going to give away anything else in this movie, but I mean...
The biggest of cliffhangers.
Oh my gosh. I think I yelled. I was just like, no, I expected it and it was just so freaking good, but it's just like, we have to wait till the second one comes out, the part two, which I think is still hypothetically supposed to be next year, but it seems there may be a little bit of delay since I've read some stuff recently.
It's supposed to be March, maybe?
Yeah.
Earlier than you think. But no, for sure. And that cliffhanger, they pump you up for it, too. It's not like all is lost moment, and what are they going to do? Well, too bad. You're not going to know. It's like...
Yeah. It's like
they are
coming together.
Raising the bar, and everything is happening all at once, and then end of the movie.
Yep. It was just like...
Too bad.
No! I was like, I want more. Give me more. So good. But I guess we can kind of go through briefly a little bit through the story because, if our listeners have seen the first one, or even if they hadn't, just an idea, our main Spider-Man in this is Miles Morales. So it's not completely, what people may be used to with Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker and many Peter Parkers may pop up, clearly, but this is Miles' story.
And in a way, I love what they did with this story because when the first Spider-Verse movie came out, not that this was Miles' first time being Spider-Man in the history of his publication, because he was not new to being Spider-Man at all. Just in maybe the mainstream reference of it. If you're not used to reading the comics or playing any games or anything like that, then you're meeting Miles probably for the first time. And the first one was all about it's time to be your own Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't mean this. It's just who you are. Because he was trying to live up to how Peter was Spider-Man, which is, that's a very common Miles story. That's how the comics went for a very long time. But this one focuses more on not just him being different from Peter, but being himself. What does being Spider-Man mean for Miles Morales in the grand design of the Spider-Verse when everybody's lives have to follow these certain rules, more or less.
Yeah. And because of that too, with being more about Miles and stuff, we really get some of those in this movie, these like slower moments to slow down and really focus on like his family dynamics and those relationships with his mom and his father. Like
those quiet scenes with his mom, like they hit me. They hit me hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why like this one's a lot different than the first one too, because yeah, like I feel the first one, not that there's a problem with that, but it's like go go go, like action after action after action, and this one, it has lots of action too, but mixed with all these slower moments, and not even just for Miles. Like we see that with some of the other spider people too, like a little bit more into their lives and their slower moments and what they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. And all of that just kind of, it weaves itself into the overarching story of Miles having an idea of what he wants to do for his future, but also he feels this pull and this tug that there's something else he should be doing, or maybe like some higher responsibilities that as Spider-Man he has to fulfill, things like that. And really, like, the Spider-Verse stuff really doesn't even happen much for quite a while in the film, as it focuses more on Miles and his problems and his daily life, because like his school life is, he's getting in trouble because he's out being Spider-Man a lot, so he's missing classes, and his parents are involved in that and everything else. It's Miles's life is as a kid is becoming complicated in like the worst ways that it can be as a kid. Somebody who's kind of trying to find his own way into independence and self-responsibility and stuff like that, where he knows what he's doing, but he can't share that with everybody. He can't give people excuses as, well, I'm Spider-Man, I just can't be everywhere at once kind of thing. That's not their job. He has different sets of responsibilities based off of who he's being at that time, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think you kind of, like, throwing into the mix with this movie, too, it's like we almost get more of a secondary main character more with Gwen, like, because we get to see a lot more of her life and how it intertwines with Miles, and like that she doesn't have that same life that Miles does, and what her responsibilities are, and her finding her own way, and just she's also escaping her own problems and not dealing with them at the time, and just trying to get involved in everything else going on.
Trying to distract herself with everybody else's problems so she doesn't have to deal with her own. Isn't that something that feels familiar? But on the subject of Gwen, the movie starts with Gwen, and we get a lot of Gwen's more backstory, kind of what's going on with Gwen at the time stuff. From the second the movie started, and you see for the first time into Gwen's, like, her actual world, I was just enamored by it. You know how all of the scenes in her world, the backdrops, they have this, it's this brilliant splash of these colors, and like, you know, it's more like gradients. You're not seeing like the colors of the building and such and so forth. You're seeing these gradients just mixed together. That artwork, that is how her comics have worked since the very first time she was shown. That is how her world is portrayed within the world of the comics.
That's so cool.
The same colors, the same designs, the same patterns, and it just in her comic run has not been a thing for a while. Like, it died out a bit ago. Like, they ended the story, and it was like being home for me, kind of, because there hasn't been new Spider-Gwen stories in a good while, which is shocking, just considering how popular of a character she is. But in the future, because there's small talk of Gwen getting her own movie or series of movies. If they do, I really hope they just follow the story that her comics set, which is something I don't say very often, because books and comics and movies, they should all have their own narratives, their own worlds. Do it make sense for that media. But her story is, in her books, is so good. It's so powerful. And it connects to a lot of people. Like, you talk about how Gwen doesn't know how to handle the problems that she's facing. A lot of the problems that she's facing in the movie are straight out of her comic. Her relationships with her friends and her dad is just one for one, especially with her bandmates. The Mary Janes, I love the band so much, because her Mary Jane, she don't take crap for nobody. You know, as the lead singer especially. And then like the other two are just like super chill there. So it's usually like Mary Jane versus Gwen a lot, where Mary Jane's just like, stop being emo and just talk to us about your feelings, and Gwen's like, I don't need anybody. Nobody understands what I'm going through, and then she like throws her drum set and like leaves. That's very Gwen in this series. So it was nice to see that still exists within the movies too.
Yeah. And that's really cool, like, mentioning, too, about, like, that is what her, like, world looks like in the comics and stuff. And I think that so far for both these Spider-Man movies, they've done such a great job of, like, really differentiating between the different characters and really, like, picking a style for them depending on, like, what type of era or what comic style, like, you'll see for all the different characters. And that's just so incredible, and so much, like, love and care into a movie like this that, like, you spend so much time on the art making it fit the world it's from instead of being the world that they're all brought into. Like, wow. it's so cool.
And to see it, and you get to see it again when they go meet Spider-Man India. Like, you see the same thing. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Also, they redesigned Spider-Man India for Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, really?
And they said they were going to do that like a long time ago, because if you go look, his like, when the very first Spider-Verse comic came out, the Spider-Man India has been a part of it since then, so he's pretty old as far as like comics go. Like I say that it's like back in like 2013,
so
maybe.
Old.
so old. But his design is very basic. You look at him and go, oh yeah, he looks like a Spider-Man from India. And when they said they were going to be redoing his costume, I was like, I mean, I don't think they could get anything wrong because of how basic his normal costume is. But then when I saw it for the first time, I was just like, okay, can they make this his costume in the comics?
Yeah.
It was so good. It is so freaking good. And I hope he's still around in the third movie.
I loved how much time we got to, like, spend in that universe and stuff. Like, it was just, like, this is one of those movies, too, where I feel like I need to watch it 20 times and just pause, like, every single frame just to admire, like, the art and just all the tiny little details and all the insane cameos and nods to everything. But just, it's so cool. That's all I can say. It's just cool to see. It's a lot of fun, but I mean, that's okay. That's the thing too, that is just kind of funny, because for me, like I've said before, like I've been kind of, exhausted by the MCU and then just breaking up the multiverse and stuff. Well, these two are multiverse films, but like it hits different.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
I think it's just like it's the different like art styles coming together, the unique stories going, like it's just those, like the stories just hit harder for me. Like they're just so much more emotional, impactful, and just it's also because I'm not as familiar with like the Spider-Verse as much, and so I'm just enjoying the ride.
It's all a new experience. Yeah, for sure. Although we're talking about like cameos and stuff, I cackled during the scene. Was it? I can't remember if it was Miguel or not, or who it was. Popped up in the Venom universe.
Oh,
like in front of the concession store lady.
Yes.
I cackled. I cackled so much.
Yeah, you will get a lot of cameos from things that may or may not be animated.
For sure.
Yes. You see it all.
But they use them well in this movie. They're not just like, well, that one is kind of like just a fun little throw around, but when you see them other times in the movie, they're there for like the impact of what you know already. They use what you know and what you felt before to push home like what they're talking about. I can't say anything more. I'm gonna spoil it.
Yeah. No, but there are definitely so many moments that that made me cackle too or something. I don't remember the specifics, but there's some nerdy thing that happens. I mean, the whole movie is nerdy, but it was something to do with like font. And it was something with like Helvetica and bold. There was something with like some type of version of Spider-Man, and it was something about like the typeface, and I just laughed. I don't even remember what it was. It was like some type of like joke on a sign. I don't know, but I just thought that was hilarious. Just
You'll have to show me, like, when we are able to just send screenshots back and
yes,
forth. You'll have to show
yes.
me that.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's so many other ones that you caught as well that I missed. It's gonna be nonstop, just back and forth every second. Here's another screenshot of this film.
Man, I sat down that movie and I was like ready to go because they're like, look at all the spiders in this movie. I was so prepared. I'm like, I'm not gonna catch them all because that would be stupid to think I was. But I want to, like, how many can I like recognize? Because like I have ingested the Spider-Verse comic since they came out. Like I think I have every single Spider-Man comic book like since the first Spider-Man Spider-Verse event has taken place.
Oh,
like
wow.
I am on top of it. I'm ready to go. Now a lot of it wasn't fair because there were so many Spider-Men in the background, and this is completely fair of them to do this. But like a lot of them are just completely like made up, you know? Like it's Spider-Man, but his suit is like white and purple instead of, you know, it's not, this isn't a real Spider-Man that you would know of from somewhere. It's just like, here's a bunch of like filler costumes and stuff like that. But there were so many like that had little bitty roles and stuff within like the previous stories that they popped in. I was out of my mind in excitement. It was so cool.
Yeah. It was, yeah, because it was like, it was in a sense like quite a bit of fan service to like squeeze in a ton, but yeah, no, but having so many of them like playing a particular role or something and adding to the story is really cool. I don't know. I mean, okay, well, I feel like we should kind of talk about this. I mean, the first movie had a pretty fantastic soundtrack, and I feel like this one did as well. It just works so well with the film.
Revolutionary. And so many times in the movie you don't even realize that a song has started because it just becomes part of the atmosphere of what you're watching. It's just which is great because like all soundtracks should do that. You know, like be there until like the music is very, very important, and then you're going, wow, like that blends so well with what's happening. Like it punches you in the face with like its relevance of that scene and stuff like that. You know, you get what you get out of it, and then it backs down. I love that, and this one did it just as well as the first one did.
Yeah, it just helps to carry you on that emotional ride, and yeah, like you said, yeah, get you pumped up for those right moments and everything, and just, I mean, I probably don't even know, like, I probably couldn't even name any of the music specifically, but it just, yeah, like you said, just it's one that works so well with the film. And I think too, it's something I don't think it gets talked about too much with animated films, but the fact that like there's certain parts, I'm not going to say specifically, but there's certain parts a little bit towards the end where the editing is superb, and you like, you know, you think something's going on, but then you're like, oh, something else that's not the same, or is it, you know? It just really tricks you into thinking certain things or making you suspect things, and it's
the end of the
great.
movie is just very good at that in general. Like you think you know what's going on until
yeah.
you don't.
Bam.
and then it's too late.
Yeah.
And then it's
and then you
cliffhanger
cry
time.
because it's done.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think this movie was a little bit longer than the first one was too, but
I think so,
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't feel like I was like looking at my watch being like, okay, how much time do we have
nope.
left here? Like,
Never.
nope.
Never ever. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, all I have to say is, listeners, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. And if you've never seen the first one and you're listening to this episode, stop what you're doing, watch that one, then immediately see the sequel.
You don't have to be a Spider-Man fan to enjoy these movies. They give you everything you need to know.
For sure.
Do you have a favorite spider that you saw in the movie? Like a favorite character?
I think that's so hard because there's certain, I think, spiders that I thought they were really cool, like the punk one, but I didn't really like his character.
The Spider-Punk is a huge favorite right now, like in the internet. But you know, he's an anarchist. so his kind of character is really easy to like until the anarchist does something that you don't like. Like that's because he's an anarchist. He's not looking for fans.
No.
But Hobie Brown is super cool for sure. He you know, in his world, he the president of the world is Norman Osborn, i.e. Venom. And he kills Norman by blasting him with a giant sonic blast from his guitar in gigantic, like, building-sized speakers. And then he decapitates him with said guitar. So,
Oh, wow.
he
Yeah.
killed the president of his world. So,
Wow.
rock on to that.
Man, I don't know. Gosh. The style of his character, though, is cool. Like that, like, cutout vibe of, like...
Very much so. And again, that is from his comics.
That's cool.
It's another thing that carried over, which just makes me super happy because that translated really well into the film.
Yeah. But, I mean, as for, like, the, like... I feel like I don't know. It's probably a safe answer, but, I mean, I can't go wrong with, like, Miles and Gwen. Like... I mean, that's the story we're following. I mean, Miles is cool. He goes through a lot, man.
He does.
And more.
You know, like this is my own nitpick, and this is not about the movie itself. This is just how Miles and Gwen are handled specifically, and this can be purely written as a hang up on my part. Totally fine. The comics do this a lot too. They put Miles and Gwen, Spider-Gwen specifically, together as a couple a lot. And that makes me really uncomfortable because Miles is like 16 at the oldest and Gwen is like 22. You know, she's like college age. She's up there. So it bothers me a little bit when they do the whole, I love them. I love how close they get as friends. But especially in the comics, you get scenes of them like making out all the time. And I'm just like, nope. I'm not the audience for this part. And that's just like, it throws me for a loop. But my favorite Spider was barely in the movie, and that's okay because she'll be in the next one a lot. But it's Penny Parker. You know, the cute little Japanese girl from the first one. But they made a change to her in this movie. They got rid of her regular spider robot. I say her regular one. They got rid of her made-up one from the first movie, her super cute, like, anime Tamagotchi style one. And they gave her her actual one from the comics, which is more based on her Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion roots. It looks like an actual Ava, which is how it's supposed to look, which means you know that in the next movie, she's gonna be tearing things down.
Heck yes.
And that makes me happy because even her character design even was more changed to that slightly more like mature, less cutesy format of her comic world. Which again tells me that they're gonna take her a little bit more seriously than just like the cute little Asian tech girl, you know.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing her destroy everything, hopefully. Preferably everything. A little bit is okay too.
Yeah. No, I would love to see more of her too, because it was also like, wait, where is she? And then you're like, yeah, just a little tease there. But yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that, because I thought her character looked a little bit different, but I feel like I didn't get to catch enough of it to be like,
oh no, she's in the background for like a half second, like waving at Miles. And then she's right there at the very, very end with like the original, like Into the Spider-Verse crew.
The OGs.
The OGs.
But I guess before we finish this episode, I feel like I should mention that, you know, we kind of already talked a little bit. I think we probably like gushed a little bit about Gwen, but we had that fun like bracket earlier this month where we had people vote on their favorite Spider person, and Gwen won. So thanks to everybody who had fun voting in that. But yep, she was the winner by a landslide. Which was a little bit surprising to me. I had no idea where it was going. I'm surprised that, like, you know, Peter Parker and Miles were pretty quickly eliminated.
Yeah, they didn't last for very long.
No.
It's not about the guys anymore. It's all about the girls.
Hey. Way of the future.
Oh, yeah. All right. And so anything else to add?
I don't think so. What about you?
Okay. Nope, I'm good to go. I will be eagerly awaiting, hopefully, March. Hopefully they don't have to delay it too much. But
I'll be excited whenever they release it.
Oh my gosh, I know. All right, well, listeners, we thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, catching our review of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Hit us up anywhere on social media. We are all over the place. Hit us up. Let us know what you thought. Who were your favorite Spiders? What did you think of the art, the music? Let us know all the things. We'd love to have those conversations with you. If not, you can always email us. It's at demasteredpodcast@gmail.com. In other words, we will catch you later.
See ya.